Let's talk about China and the US, the world's two largest economies standing at crossroads. This week, they pulled even further apart. On Wednesday, US President Donald Trump delivered a late-night address to Congress, his first since returning to the White House. Just an hour before that, across the Pacific, Chinese President Xi Jinping had presented his annual report card to the Congress. Two leaders, two nations, and two worldviews. So let's address some of the questions here. Why are Trump and Xi's visions so different? Does this mean a clash is inevitable? And where do other nations fit in this power struggle? I'm Ananya Dutta. Let's get some answers. Let's look at the two Congress sessions side by side. Trump entered the chamber to cheering Republicans. As he moved through the crowd and took the podium, the applause continued for over 5.5 minutes.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
The partisan divide was on full display during Trump's speech. One half of the room stood on their toes every 30-odd seconds, cheering for their president, while the other half looked like they were glued to their seats, fiddling on their phones, most of them tweeting throughout the 1 hour and 14-minute speech. While talking, Trump kept looking at the Republican side of the room with almost his back towards the Democrats. In fact, the only time he looked at the blue camp was for taunts.
And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it.
Most presidents, even when they're elected in very partisan times, like Bill Clinton, for example, they use these addresses to try to win some people over, to win over a few people in the other party, and to win over a few viewers, because that's the only way you get legislation passed. That's the only way you keep the government open when you're so closely divided. But that doesn't seem to be in Donald Trump's way of thinking about politics, which is what made this sound more like a campaign speech than a governing speech.
Contrasting that divide, Xi entered his theater-like chamber to an audience of 3,000 loyal comrades. He sat on a dais as the premier spoke for 55 minutes, giving a report card of last year and setting the goals for this year. Trump's unscripted moments and high emotions are rare in China. It's a one-party state, and whatever the Communist Party says goes. It shows utmost unity, even if it's all a facade.
Let us rally more closely around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, hold high the great banner of socialism with Chinese characteristics, and follow the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Let us strive to build a great country and advance national rejuvenation on all fronts through Chinese modernization.
The economy is the main sour point between the two countries, and the Congress has heard a lot about it. Trump said he's bringing tax cuts for everyone and cheered his policies towards the economy. For Trump, economy and tariffs seem to go hand in hand. He has promised new tariffs will boost US's industries, even if it threatens to upset global trade order.
All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people, and they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing.
China, on the other hand, is more worried about deflation than inflation. Premier Li acknowledged challenges like real estate prices and falling consumer spending, but Beijing's focus is still on opening up rather than closing down.
We will refine and develop new structural monetary policy instruments to provide stronger support for sound development of the real estate sector and the stock market. We should pursue people-oriented macro policies. We will take a people-centered approach and place a stronger economic policy focus on improving living standards and boosting consumer spending.
And this shows in its annual economic growth target of around 5%, despite reservations that a looming trade war with the US could stunt Beijing. She has been smart in using the word quote-unquote around in reference to the target, which gives him some room at least if growth falls short. There's something in common too. Both countries are yearning for greatness. The United States dominated the second half of the 20th century and early 21st century. Its economy and military are still the world's most powerful. Trump has made his vision of America very clear. He wants the American dream reserved for only Americans, even if it comes at the expense of taking a U-turn on long-standing policies. But time is ticking for him. He has 4 years and that's about it. She, on the other hand, has been in power for 12 long years and will be in this position for the foreseeable future. Lately, he has been talking about Chinese dream, one which also keeps national interests first. But China doesn't want to be a leader in the US sense. It wants to be considered an equal, and she is willing to forego past apprehensions for that. Like he sat down with the biggest industry leaders, from agriculture to infrastructure to even technology. She is clearly changing his priorities with the changing world. So let's come back to where we started. There are two superpowers with two distinct worldviews, but the goal is the same, the ultimate power. Both leaders ended with a call to make their nations great. But look at where things stand now. From trade to geopolitics and two nations making no secret of their ambitions, which begs the question, can two superpowers really coexist in peace?
What the changes in India's population and the differential growth rates.
This city has emerged.
We have a very special guest on the record.
The interview.
The role that the US side played at that point of time.
पूरी दुनिया की नजर
Assume my phone is tapped, I can probably say hello to Mr. Modi.
आपके भारत पर है.
Episode of Know Your Candidate.
The rising confidence of India under Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Communist China is the greatest threat.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremist.
I'm still a little perplexed by why we.
Your daily dose of news from India and across the world. Cutting edge views and analysis. Tune into HT videos. Click on the bell icon to subscribe.